Next up for Vincent was the 1945 costume period piece, A Royal Scandal. Based on the play Die Zarin, it tells the story of Catherine the Great, ruler of Russia, played by Tallulah Bankhead. Lieutenant Alexei Chernov, played by William Ith, arrives at the court with desperate news for the Empress. Two of her generals are planning treason.
But General Pekowski and General Gashi...
Two of my best generals.
Don't trust them, Your Majesty. They have evil thoughts. They're planning treason.
Catherine is most grateful for the information and promotes him to the rank of captain. She grows increasingly infatuated with the handsome young Alexei and further promotes him to the rank of major, then colonel, then commander of the palace guards, and eventually general. The majority of the film follows the whims of the spoiled and manipulative Catherine. Unknown to the Empress, a revolt is being planned in her court, and the hot-headed Alexei becomes caught up in the intrigue.
And at dawn we all meet at the palace, and Russia is ours.
Russia is ours! I idolized that woman.
Oh, Alexei, we must come to a decision. If we don't move right now, we are lost, every one of us. What is your answer?
I'm with you.
Vincent appears as a French ambassador, Marquis de Fleury. He doesn't have much screen time, appearing only briefly at the beginning and again at the end of the film. He speaks in a ridiculous French accent in English for some reason.
In the name of my sovereign, I thank your excellency for the expression of welcome and friendship. My monarch and the whole French people united in admiration and respect for your grand empress, Her Majesty Catherine II. Vive la Russie!
Vive la France!
Not necessarily Vincent's best performance. I kind of have a problem anyway with movies where everyone speaks in English in foreign countries, but I understand that's sort of the way movies were made back then. But it doesn't hold up well with time. A Royal Scandal was directed by Otto Preminger, with whom Vincent had worked the previous year in Laura. It was a cast Vincent was very familiar with, having appeared with leading man William Ith previously in The Song of Bernadette and The Eve of St. Mark. Actress Anne Baxter, who played Countess Anna, also appeared in The Eve of St. Mark. After A Royal Scandal, Vincent's next film was the historical piece Wilson. Head of Fox Studios Darryl F. Zanuck had a real penchant for producing films based, largely inaccurately, on historical figures. This is another in a long line of such films from Fox Studios. Wilson is based on the life of President Woodrow Wilson, played by Alexander Knox, and chronicles his rise from President of Princeton to 28th President of the United States, serving during the First World War. In this film, Price plays the small role of political advisor and later cabinet member William Gibbs McAdoo.
Wilson's at the governor's mansion at Seagirt. We'd better get him on the telephone. I don't like the way this Bryan thing is going.
Neither do I, but McCombs here's his campaign manager. He doesn't seem to think there's anything to worry about.
It's too early. Besides, the Associated Press, every newspaper in New York has a direct wire to the governor's place. He probably already knows what's going on.
Price is barely in this film and contributes little. In fact, his part could be cut out completely and not matter one bit. A good deal of the film he spends standing around watching other actors perform. A true waste of his talents. Clocking in at over 2.5 hours, this film was lavishly expensive, costing close to $4 million to make, an enormous amount at that time. This film was intended as a blockbuster, but audiences hated it, which of course meant the Academy Awards loved it. Wilson was nominated for 10 awards, including Best Picture, and won 5 for art direction, cinematography, film editing, sound, and screenplay. Vincent jokingly referred to Green Hill as his worst picture, but I'd rather rewatch that anytime over this piece of boring dreck. And that's the worst problem with Wilson. It's dreadfully boring. Clocking in at over 2.5 hours, it consists of scene after scene of political rallies and speeches. It is, to put it bluntly, a piece of political propaganda meant to prop up Zanuck's personal hero, Wilson, and rewrite history. But audiences weren't buying it. Made in 1944, it wouldn't be released until 1945. A truly dreadful film, this is one to avoid.
Monsieur, the wig is the essence of our civilization. It is the symbol of our century. It is the rococo of the rococo. But I will make the grand sacrifice for the future of humanity.
I used to be frightened by all the wine coolers I saw. I was scared I wouldn't pick the right one. Luckily, I did. It was the most refreshing one of them all, Sun Country wine cooler. You see, Sun Country is a blend of premium white wine and real fruit juice. That's what gives it its great taste. Sun Country, say, give me the real juice cooler. If you don't say Sun Country, you'd better sleep with your lights on.